Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McJesy.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Builders of Authority podcast. We're live here at Adventure Unknown in Fenton, Missouri. If you are an entrepreneur, a high-performing professional, somebody that just wants to network with awesome people and hang out in a really cool spot, and you're in the St. Louis area, send me a message if you haven't been up here, or if it's been a while since you've been up here, so I can show you around, show you all the awesome amenities, the events that we have going on, the happy hours, the networking. So much is happening up here and you need to be here. You can also see where we do our podcast live in partnership with Trueline Media Group. So they're the ones behind the scenes taking care of all of this awesome stuff. And we love working with them, and I can show you, introduce you to them, all that good stuff. Today we have a solo episode coming to you live, and I don't know if it'll be between the 15 and 20 minute mark. It'll probably be that max, but I want this to be an episode as an entrepreneur. So if you're not an entrepreneur listening to this translates to success in life. But today I'm going to talk about my experience with entrepreneurship, and I'm confident this 15 to 20 minutes is going to make a massive impact on your mindset when it comes to being successful. And so I'll lay it out there. Again, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I have a couple of bullet points that I'll talk about over here, but the title and the theme of this episode is the true cost of winning and success as an entrepreneur. So many people think that entrepreneurship is easier than it actually is, thinks it's, passive income. Now, there are aspects of entrepreneurship that allow for you to have passive income, but it doesn't, of course, happen overnight. And so I want to start by opening up is that there's not the hype around entrepreneurship, or there is hype around entrepreneurship that is not true reality. So everyone wants to win or be successful in business until they realize what winning actually costs. So what do I mean by that? Is that success looks amazing from the outside. Just it was on an episode that we recorded right before this. We were just talking about how his business, his life looks awesome from social media. Mine does too. And then not everything is obviously shared for obvious reasons, because sometimes it just can't be shared. But people think from the outside looking in, oh, entrepreneurship is easy. I know I thought that when I was working for somebody else in corporate America. But nobody talks about the price tag that's associated with success. And people are like, well, just scale your business, do all this other stuff. The bigger you build your business, the heavier it gets, the harder it gets to truly be successful. You have to have more employees. You have to have more clients. You have more money coming in, but you have more overhead. Going and being a bigger company or doing bigger things doesn't mean you automatically get more success. Usually it's actually harder. And so this is going to be a very open and honest podcast and conversation. It's not that I'm complaining about entrepreneurship. I just want you to know what you're actually going to have to go through in order to get out on the other side. And the other side, the goalpost is always moving too. So you don't just reach success and you're just there forever. Levels are with all of this stuff. I'm grateful for entrepreneurship, forever will be, but I am someone that likes to educate, coach, train, consult, tell the truth, and ultimately just share my story. So there's an illusion versus reality when it comes to success, whether it's the social media highlight reels, people sharing their revenue, but not necessarily sharing actual tangible things where it's like, hey, here's my QuickBooks, here's the expenses that went with it. Because revenue is great, right? People say revenue is sanity, profit is actually vanity. Or whatever, the revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. Mix that up. When people talk about growth announcements or these milestones that they hit or all the new hires that are traveling and all that stuff, that's what people are like, oh my gosh, there has to be success. But then you typically don't see the stress that goes into whatever that milestone was or that revenue. I had to do X in order to 4X my business. Like that was sleepless nights, payroll pressure, decisions that affect my family. Hey, I got to be up early. I got to go out of town. I got to work late. I have to do different things because it's what's required in this moment or in this season inside of the business. But people want the things I talked about in the beginning, the illusion. But when they realize the reality, the price tag of carrying emotional weight, stress, and anxiety quietly behind the scenes, they're like, nope, I'm good. I'm not going to pay that bill, right? I want the success, but I don't want the reality that comes with it. And then with that, the higher you climb or the more success you have, the less people understand the pressure you're under. And I used to see a lot of people say entrepreneurship is lonely. And now I've started to see people that are way ahead of me say entrepreneurship is lonely, especially when you're at the top if you're not in the right rooms. And so I used to be in the mindset that entrepreneurship was lonely because there's way less people that are entrepreneurs than there are just a normal employee or somebody in the workforce. Now, with that, that's also why I spend so much time up here at Adventure Unknown. By the time this podcast goes out, we'll have moved our offices in here. That's why I invest in masterminds, why I have coaches, why I do all of those things, because I do believe the new saying or the new thing that I've heard recently where it's like entrepreneurship is just lonely if you're not around the right people or not in the right rooms. Like that's more true than entrepreneurship is lonely. It is lonely if you make it that way and you're not in the right rooms with the right people. Which transitioning to that is as you need to make room for the right people, you're going to lose people along the way. And this was something that I could never understand in the beginning of becoming an entrepreneur as I was building authority and creating a personal brand and started to get made fun of and started to have family members question me and just started to get people caring about what I was doing for absolutely no reason other than the fact that they thought it meant something to them and that they deserved or whatever to say something to me. And so this is where it gets real. So some of the bullet points that I'll talk about is along the way. And again, I used to think, oh my gosh, if I was losing people, I was doing something wrong. And a lot of people say, well, you can still have it all. I mean, there's so many different ways to skin a cat with this, but just know from my personal experience, whether it's friends, family, clients, employees, combination of all that stuff, when you lose people, right, it's not always a bad thing. And I don't mean lose people like gone forever. I mean like just their involvement in your life one way or another. Family members aren't going to be around forever. Friends aren't going to be around forever. Clients aren't going to be around forever. Employees aren't going to be around literally forever. There's all these different things that we associate with, hey, this is a forever thing. And in reality, it's not. It's a finite project, if you will. So you'll have friends who stop relating to you because you're running a business and being successful and running 1,000 miles an hour, and they're not. Doesn't make it wrong what they're doing and doesn't make it right what you're doing, and then vice versa. You'll have family members who might think that you work too much, people who say you've changed, old circles who start feeling uncomfortable around you because of the growth that you're having. I've experienced that where people are like, man, you don't want to go out, you don't want to do this, you don't want to, whatever the thing is. It's like, you're right. I have different responsibilities. I own multiple companies. I have 30-something employees. I have 100 clients. I'm a husband to my wife and I have a son. Like, come on, things change. Yes, 100%. I adapt and I change. Just because you haven't doesn't make me right and you wrong or vice versa. But I'm not trying to succumb to the environments of the past of other people. And so you'll also see people who only show up when things are going well. right? So they're like, hey, I see you're doing good. Let's hang out. Let's do whatever. And it's selfish, right? That they're also not wanting to be around you, reach out, etc. when things aren't going well. Growth creates distance, not because you're better, but because you're different, right? It's not better. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's different. So you're going to outgrow rooms. You're going to need to choose your vision over comfort. And there is that silent trade-off of leveling up. You can't reach places you've never been and have success that you're looking to have if your old habits are holding you back. And old habits could be hanging out with the wrong people. There is a moment or sets of moments where you will feel like you are missing out on life. And you might miss gatherings with friends or random hangouts or spontaneous weekends where you're traveling with people. You're gonna be at times as well physically present, but mentally also trying to solve all of the problems in your business and solve all of the world's problems. It's one of the craziest mind games with yourself that you will ever go through. And so you can work on all those things, right? You can make sure that you are present where your feet are at, but it's tough. None of this stuff happens overnight. I'm 5.5 years in and I'm still trying to navigate and I still struggle with it. I still struggle with checking my phone and doing a variety of things if I'm having a conversation with somebody or on a Zoom call. It's tough. I've checked my phone in Slack after work, at dinner, when I should be doing something else, being at home with my family. I've taken calls and done work on vacation when I said I wasn't going to do. When you're responsible for 30 plus people inside of a company like I am and having 100 plus clients, and even though we're at a great place, it's really hard to shut your mind off. It's really hard to shut off because you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go backwards. Entrepreneurship doesn't clock out at 5 p.m., but it also gives you the flexibility to not have to clock in if you don't want to until 10 a.m. It gives you the ability, I'm getting ready to head out on vacation for 8 days down to our condo that we have in Panama City Beach that we purchased and now created another LLC that's a short-term rental that we're putting on the Airbnbs and VRBOs of the world that I was able to pay for because of the profit we had inside of our marketing company. So yes, there are times where I work way too much and there are times where all of the different responsibilities overweigh me living my life, but I also get the other benefits from this as well. There is a sense, in addition to that, of the loneliness of leadership. And it's a big theme for me. So many people look at me, right, as being the person that has the answers. So many people come to me, right? Way more people come to me than I go to people. My team, my clients, just anybody, right? They want. And part of me, right, needs to do better about setting the right boundaries and saying no more and saying yes to only when it makes sense. But it's really tough as somebody that wants to help people, please people, whatever the thing is, you feel like you need to do it. You also have to be calm in front of other people when in reality you're so close to breaking, when you're stressed, when you're anxious, when you're lacking sleep. You still have to stay calm. As hard as that possibly is, you have to do it. You sometimes have to make decisions alone. You're not always able to vent downwards to somebody. So you're not always able to vent to your team because you're like, oh my gosh, if they would know all this stuff, what would they think of me? And so it's really tough. You have kind of a corner that you're in as an entrepreneur where you can only share so many things with so many people. And I've tried to, with the best of my ability, is protect my team from the stress and the anxiety that I have to take because I don't want them worried. You don't get to choose what happens in life, doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or not, you choose how you respond, right? But it's even more important as an entrepreneur. There's emotional discipline that is required in order to be successful as an entrepreneur. Sometimes that might require for you to hide fear, even though you have it, not negate it, not push it away, just push it to the side and deal with it at a later point. You have to stay composed in chaos. So again, everybody's looking to you, your family, your team, your clients, people on social media, people that you do business with. They're looking at you. They're saying, hey, how does he react when X, Y, and Z happens? And you have to lead when heavy things are happening or feeling that way personally, right? You have all this stuff going on at home or with your family or whatever, and you have to show up and almost make it seem like it's not even happening and it's not even real. And that's really, really tough to bottle up. At every single level, you're going to get judged. There are people that consistently root for you to fail. That's on them, not you, but they're there. You have internet critics or the keyboard warriors. You have the people that say, must be nice. It must be nice that you get to go down for 8 days to Panama City. Yes, it is. You're right. But you don't know and haven't done what I've done in order to get there. Otherwise, you would be there too, and you would be able to say, it must be nice for yourself. People assume it was way too easy. And then you have former peers or people that used to be in your circle who resent your growth, that think you're better than them because you're having more success. The same people who question your grind will question your success. Public brand equals public scrutiny. So yes, I talk all the time about building authority and being in the spotlight. In my opinion, it's one of the greatest things you can do for your brand and for your business in order to have success as an entrepreneur. But that means more people know, like, and trust you, but that means more people know you as well. So that will come with it being a double-edged sword. When you build in public, authority, businesses, etc., it is that double-edged sword. There is pressure as a high performer to keep winning and winning and winning. And we have this tendency to move the goalposts, right? I hit one goal, I got to go to the next. And it's the hardest thing to stop. When revenue doubles, then you have expectations that double. When the team grows, your responsibility grows. When you become the leader, there's no room for excuses. You can't emotionally spiral publicly and just say what you want to say because you're pissed off or upset or whatever, or you're just dealing with stress. So you have to stay calm in the chaos. You have to show up regardless of what's going on outside of business or in the business, and you have to carry the weight of the momentum and keep the ball moving forward. But here's why it's still worth it. The freedom that you have, the impact that you're able to have, the building that something that matters. You're building something that matters and has created opportunities for so many people. You're breaking many times generational patterns or building on top of it. You're setting an example for your peers, for your kids, and you control your own ceiling. So nobody's telling you what you can and can't do for the most part. The cost is high. The cost of being successful and winning as an entrepreneur is high. But the ceiling there is none. The cost is high, but so is the alternative. Working for somebody else, showing up to a job that you absolutely don't want to do, being around people you don't want to do. Life is short. Business is even shorter, but especially when you work for somebody else, it can drain you. So I'd rather take the cost of entrepreneurship than the cost of the alternative. So I want to end on a couple of key things that I think will take you into this next phase of life and business. And I hope this specific podcast, of all the podcasts that I've done interview-wise and even the solo ones, I hope you grabbed something from it that either clicked, made you think differently, or encouraged you to do the next thing. Not everyone is built for this, right? So people want to be an entrepreneur, or maybe they're an entrepreneur right now and they're like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? All those things that I listed, everything I've gone over, like, it's tough. It's not for everyone. And if it's not for you, that's okay. There's plenty of great businesses that need somebody that has an entrepreneurial mindset, that doesn't want the hours, doesn't want the risk, doesn't want the anxiety, doesn't want the stress and the emotion. Winning requires sacrifice. And it doesn't mean sacrificing everything in order to win. It may mean sacrificing going out or spending money that you don't need to spend. And it may mean that you don't do something that you've typically done. And usually those are bad habits. Growth requires separation from the previous version of yourself. Growth, even if your previous version was awesome, growth to that next level requires something else. Leadership requires emotional control. You have to be in control of your emotions to be an effective leader. If you want the reward, regardless of what it is, you must be willing to pay the price and accept the cost. Stop chasing success if you're not willing to go pay for it. Winning isn't glamorous, it's lonely. The view at the top is absolutely incredible, but the climb that you go on is brutal. Be ready for the climb if you want to have that incredible view. But I encourage you, the view up there is awesome. Go get it. Just be willing to actually take the climb with it as well. The price of growth is comfort. A lot of people live in the comfort zone. It's the easy thing to do. You want to continue doing it because you don't have to have tough conversations, put the work in, right? You're very, very comfortable. And then the cost of winning is becoming someone that not everybody understands. And I want to end with that part right there. The cost of winning is becoming somebody that people won't understand. A lot of people that used to understand me or thought that they understood me don't understand me right now. But I have a whole other set of people now, especially up here at Adventure Unknown, that understand me or at least understand aspects of what I'm doing. Not because the previous people or the previous version of me wasn't great, but it's because I'm at a different season in life and business. And that's basically what I wanted to talk with you about today. The cost of winning and being successful as an entrepreneur. There's a true cost associated that most people don't talk about. They talk about the money, they talk about the time, they talk about all those things, but they don't talk about what I talked about today. So I hope you grab something from this episode, whether you're listening to it or watching it. Make sure to subscribe to all the different channels, the platforms of where you're consuming this content on. Download the episodes if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the show, like the video, leave a comment, share this stuff on social media. It helps us get this information out to more people. Thank you so much for watching or listening to today's episode, and we'll see you next week. Remember, authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.